that. I actually have a deep. What is my like MC voice? Like,
There you go.
hello everyone.
Hello,
Hello
dude.
everyone.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Welcome
Neil.
to the wedding of Sandra and Todd.
Oh, there you go. Is
We're
that the
gonna
voice
have a
that you
good
use?
time tonight. Let's go.
Love that, dude. Is that your that's your wedding voice?
It's I probably over sexified it just now, but more than I would.
Sexified. I don't know if
Yeah.
I've ever heard that word before, dude.
But you know what it means.
Oh, for sure, dude. Sexified.
I love
Gotta
words
be.
that aren't words and you know what they mean.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Have you ever like
obviously-
said something and you're like, that's never been said before, ever in life? Like I was the first person to combine those words together.
I don't know if I've said that. I don't know if I've thought that, but I've thought about when I use a word for the first time, how
Yeah.
did I used to use that? Like, is this the first time? Like, how does that feel?
Yeah.
How does this new word feel?
Yeah.
I've been using corny a lot lately, and I don't feel like I used the word corny before. And I was wondering, like, what is... I know the difference between corny and cheesy intuitively, and in music it's really important, right? It's
What
like
what is
always-
that difference?
You're always like... And then I was thinking it's hard to kind of explain, but... I guess it is hard. I was thinking, how do I explain the difference between cheesy and corny?
Well, it's cheese and corn, obviously.
I mean, it's they're it can be kind of used interchangeably, of course. Yeah, it's a different food group. Yeah, sometimes I would say like cheesy. It tends to be like the lyrics are kind of cheesy, or like something about a melody might be cheesy. But corny might be more about someone's like style or brand or personality, like not as musically related. Although music, I feel like there's like corny music too. Mm-hmm. But when I think of corny music, I think of like Cotton Eye Joe.
Ah, right. Yeah.
As like corny.
Yeah, or like the
But not
seventh inning
cheesy.
stretch type.
But I think of some like. Yeah, like some like cliche pop stuff as
proud
like,
to
cheesy.
be an American.
What is that? That's corny. to
Yeah.
me. That's corny.
Okay, what about like 50 Cent? I got the magic stick on the thing time.
Something else.
That's something else.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me try and think of something else that would be corny or cheesy. Okay,
I would
let's
say
see here.
if I had to pick corny,
Corny for that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Well, actually, so it's funny that you say that.
Yeah.
The difference, because my last name is Cornwall,
Yeah.
and so corny. I've been that word has been used throughout my whole life. But what it has,
I don't even think that as I like started talking about corny. Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
it makes me think of, the difference. But with cheesy, I always thought that love music was cheesy, right?
Yeah.
And then the corny music was like corny dance
Yeah.
music. That's just where my my
like
head
the
goes
yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
And then when we're talking about cheesy, I thought about when I was younger with love tracks. I always thought I would never write music that would be cheesy. And then as I got older, I kind of opened myself up into a different box, and I will admit that some of my music would be categorized, some of my love tracks would be categorized as cheesy, to others, but I think it's like, where is it coming from? Like
Right.
where is the intention of the
Yeah.
track?
Yeah, and just like with cooking, it's like I love cheese. It's like how much
There you
cheese
go.
do you use? Do you sprinkle it on?
Mm-hmm.
I look back at some of my tracks, and like there's some cheesiness going on certain areas. And like as I think about where I'm gravitating, like I am going I feel like to a less cheese-free environment, but you got to respect the cheese.
You got to.
The cheese is there. It's out there. It's
Yeah.
just like Yeah, and corny too. I mean, everyone's got their thing.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember why I started talking about this. But
Let me do one thing.
Yeah.
How's
Was this still like the pre-podcast?
Yeah, this I know. Right?
Yeah.
So welcome, Respecting Perspectives podcast crew. I have a special guest here with me today. He is a native of Baltimore, the burbs of Baltimore, as they say.
The burbs.
The burbs. He is an artist, a piano aficionado. He has inspired me to delve into a few different kinds of music, especially house and electronic, but he makes many different types of music. I have today with me Neil Nines.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for being here, man. Hey, well, first off, what do you think? Is this set up? Are you comfortable? Are we good? Is this how it should be?
I feel good.
Okay.
Is there anywhere I should be looking, like, or just at you?
Dude,
Is there like?
we have
I guess
like
the
six.
cameras there. Yeah.
There's
I would say
cameras
like these
all
two angles.
Yeah, you
you
can look
and
wherever the
Alex.
heck you want, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the cameras will look where they want. So yeah, they'll find you.
I love the camera setup. I love what you guys have been doing with this place, and thank you for introducing me. I think the way you introduced me, you chose piano aficionado, probably because of this place and me playing piano right over there, which for me has been a big deal, actually, like a really big deal.
Yeah.
With everything I've been going through lately in terms of, who am I, you know? And I think that's something, the jack of all trades thing has definitely been a thing for me, playing multiple instruments, DJing, producing, and I just keep building it all up, you know?
Yeah.
And,
I can see. I can tell, man.
And lately, I just hired a vocal coach, so started to sing on my own tracks and
Oh, cool.
perform and write and just diving into a whole new world. But it's the world I like came from originally too. In many
I have
ways.
a question for you
Yeah.
with that. What is your goal from this vocal? Do you or do you even have a goal of the vocal coach itself and your vocals themselves?
Yeah, I mean, definitely want to execute on my tracks as good as possible, like getting especially like the pitch right, getting the breathing right. Really, the more you can nail it, the less you have to mess with like the melodyning and the auto tune. I think the better. But more importantly, I think in that regard is being able to confidently perform live and know that I'm like nailing it, you know, each time, consistently.
Yeah,
And
that's important.
it's like any other thing except your body becomes the instrument. But if you're training it consistently, I feel like that's why wouldn't you do that if you're trying to, you know, to level up. And I don't, you know, for me, I need to develop that. I mean, you obviously have been doing it for a while, so you know what you need. But yeah, I think it's for accountability too, more than anything in a lot of ways.
I've noticed that with
Yeah.
you recently, you know, with some of the sessions that we've had, and just kind of noticing your accountability and how to, you know, stay on top of things, and how to not just hold yourself accountable, but how can you also, you know, hold the people around you accountable as well. You know, it's an important factor in our lives. Do you feel like accountability is something that maybe like that isn't worked on as much, you know, in this day and age, or do you think?
Yeah, I think it depends. Like when we're individual entrepreneurs and doing it ourselves, there's no systems or structures in place that force accountability like a day job. However, there are obviously consequences, but if you're trying to build and grow and optimize, then yeah, I think it becomes important because I know, or we know that are we working our asses off? Are we doing as much as we can? I mean, if I have to look at myself in the mirror, I have to say at times perhaps, but consistently over the long term, I feel like there's so much more room for growth. And I think what's really helped with that in getting things done consistently.
Let me ask you, how have you been able to hold yourself accountable recently? What are some of the things that you've been doing?
So I have a group I meet with, 2 other producers, accountability group.
Oh, cool.
We set goals and we meet every week and we talk about our goals and what we're struggling with, whether we hit them or not. Music goals, production goals, administrative goals, like registering stuff, and sound exchange, like just like those little things that you have to do or should do. Learning goals and marketing goals. And
for sure.
Trying to have at least something every week that move all of those things, but some weeks it might be, all right, I really got to like focus on the production. And it's been good. We put money on the line.
Oh, really? Okay.
Originally.
Love that.
I think that's kind of like fallen off a little, but
could you give me a bit, dive into detail about that a little bit?
Yeah, when I first, like,
you don't have to say like figures themselves, but like how is the money? How does the money help in the situation?
Yeah, I think we agreed to an amount that we felt like if we failed and we had to pay it, it stings, but it's not like a huge one, but it still stings enough that like if you keep getting hit with it, you're just like, all right, come on. Like, I'm either not setting my goal. Like there's no
I love that.
expectation about how big goals you set, but it's that you set a clear goal that's measurable and did you hit it or not, and so many of us, struggle with that like one thing we have to do, but like for some reason it's just feels so daunting. It's out there.
I would feel sorry to interrupt, but I feel like the thing that is like that for me is, and I know it sounds small, but the lyrics from my tracks themselves, having the lyrics. And you know how when you're in like Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, when you're like posting a story and you can post the lyrics to the song in a story or a reel, and the lyrics are also timed to where when the person is saying that lyric, it kind of highlights. Well, you have to takes some special and extra time to do that, and I always feel like that's something that I have a hard time staying accountable with. So now that we're kind of even talking about it, I'll make an effort to do that myself. So thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, and that also makes me think about like there's so many like little tiny things that it gets overwhelming when the list grows, but then you have to ask yourself like, okay, what is the one thing if I do, all the other stuff doesn't even matter.
That's a good point, right? You have to think of that.
And I think that comes down, like if you can make music that really is something that really is like really makes a stamp, and you can market it well, then that's obviously those are the two big things, and that sounds simpler than done,
right?
But
easy to say. But sometimes I think even the music side, we got to spend way more time on that. Like, not time, I think, I don't know. It's not the time. Yeah.
It's the like soul searching, and to like when you're in that session, that the stuff that's coming out is like the best stuff that can come out.
Yeah. So do me a favor and give me a little bit of a background on the instruments or the type of music that you have made throughout your life, maybe kind of starting at when you were younger, and I know you were in a college band
Yeah.
and whatnot. Why don't you tell me a little bit
and
the people out here. Tell them a little bit about your history with music itself. Yeah, get comfy too. You know what I mean? Stretch out.
No, just as like a warm up sit, like getting my bearings
Right.
with the weights of the cushions and how they redistribute, and like my jean
Right.
crotch situation. Just still a work in progress.
It always will be, dude. It always will be. Okay.
But yeah. Okay, so yeah, piano was first.
How old were you?
I was 5.
Okay.
Between the age of 5 and 11. My parents were immigrants from the Soviet Union. My mom played piano. For her, that was like something I should pursue.
Okay.
Classical piano, music theory. I went to Peabody Conservatory for like kids,
Mm-hmm.
So it was like twice a week that I would go there.
Very
lessons.
prestigious. Let's just say that. But
It
for
sounds
those
prestigious.
of you, right?
I went to Peabody.
Peabody.
Yeah. So yeah, like nice little resume thing there, and
Mhm.
obviously, good to get for me at that young age. Because I wasn't even that into it, to be honest. Like I liked it, but it wasn't. So what happened was, I became a preteen, and like
As we all do.
yes,
Right.
and like preteen, piano's kind of nerdy, and like,
Right,
I'm
right.
trying to elevate my social status, getting into some sports, starting to get an eye for the ladies, so but I remember picking up, I'm like visualizing this now, like I remember I was in my cousin's or aunt and uncle's apartment in New York, in Manhattan,
Mm-hmm.
and there were CDs, and there was an Aerosmith CD,
Oh shoot.
and I heard Dream On for the first time, and so yeah,
How'd you
rock.
feel? What
Oh, man,
describe the feeling? Like
Yeah,
what were
like, I
some
haven't
of
been
maybe
back there.
emotions or
Ooh,
yeah, take yourself, if you
Yeah.
got to close your eyes
yeah,
and dream on a little bit,
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
'Cause,
put
like,
yourself in the time
yeah,
machine.
getting in the zone here. Yeah, I mean, it's just like this energy taking over the body, that a song could be so like epic and inspiring and just take you somewhere that you've never been, and naturally.
Mm.
I was, I want to say 11, 12. I also remember, so that was like being exposed, and this will definitely age me, but hey, got to embrace it. I mean,
For
it's
sure.
that 90s grunge, Soundgarden, Nirvana, Aerosmith. This was top 40. This
Yeah.
was on MTV music videos.
Or the
This was-
radio itself,
Yes.
right?
So rock was king,
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
and I remember that, So yeah, I remember a neighbor buddy of mine. He and his brother started playing guitar, and I played for the first time. He taught me power chords, which it's like a basic thing that you learn early on, but then like you can play so much rock just from that. At least like hang.
Are there any particular,
yeah.
or could you describe that if you don't mind, the
Yeah.
power chords themselves?
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't understand kind of what they are.
I mean, when you hear that like like chugging guitar in a rock song, it's usually like a simple chord that's also like very full.
Okay.
If that
It's a good way
I
to
guess
describe it.
it
Actually.
sounds full because it has. I'm gonna get technical, but like
Mhm.
it's like got an octave, and it's like the bass. It's like the deepest, bassiest part of the guitar.
Okay. It fills.
Yeah, and it like fits with a lot of music because it's simple. It doesn't use the third or it just uses the fifth and the root note.
Okay.
Basically.
Gotcha.
So that makes it more open,
Okay.
if you will.
Thanks for describing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Continue.
So
You're talking about your neighbors who the
Yeah.
guitars. Yeah.
so power chord, like this is how you do it. and I learned Glycerine by Bush.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah. It's like dun, dun, it's like 4, yeah, 1 7. I would have to play it, but yeah. So then I was like, I remember going to summer camp, I think also, and like my buddies had a guitar, and I was like, there was a guitar class, and I learned some regular chords, like open chords, and yeah, and also I was thinking about playing drums.
Oh, dude, you were forming a whole band yourself.
Yeah, but I think it worked out for the best. Like because I told my parents, like, I want to play drums. They're like, absolutely not. But guitar, fine. So they bought me a guitar, and yeah, and then like you could find chords and tabs online, like either whether you want to like just play the chords of the song and sing along, or you want to like play the lead guitar like through the tab sheet, you know, and just start learning songs.
Gotcha. What was other than maybe like Glycerine, were there any earlier songs that kind of helped build, you know, your fundamentals of either guitar or piano, you know, or any other instrument itself?
I will say that like learning the pentatonic scale, learning the basic guitar, blues, rock scale, and lead guitar and improvisation was a huge step, because I felt like, yeah, at my prime, like I felt just really good about that, you know, and I think that would lead later to being decent at improv on piano when I kind of like returned back to it.
Yeah.
But songs that I played, gosh, like, yeah, I will say more like bands that later, I was inspired by were like the Killers.
Okay. Yeah, and bands
like,
themselves would
yeah,
be
like the early 2000s, I was like still into that. But I just want to say I kind of fell off, like guitar playing. Like, I fell off in, I would say senior year of high school, going into college.
Any particular reason?
And music fell off because at that point it's like all of a sudden you have to like pick a school and or a profession or like a next step, you know.
So life, basically.
So yeah, like life. And like at that time the idea of music ever being anything more than just a hobby didn't exist yet.
Right.
Other than like, wouldn't it be cool? But like, like the inception of the dream didn't happen until later. So
you still had that Aerosmith in your head, man. That Dream On, you know.
Dream On.
Right.
I went to HF Festival.
Okay.
Like, it was epic. It was Red Hot Chili Peppers closed it out. They had just released Californication.
Oh, dude.
There were bands like Live, Offspring. That lineup was sick.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, there was a radio station called HFS. And like, yeah, and then it all changed. Like,
that was iconic. That festival was always very
Once pop took over, and then like R&B, hip hop took over. Yeah, rock essentially like died from the mainstream. But you know.
And why do you say why do you say that? Do you feel like maybe it died, you know, in your perspective, or do you think it just died overall? And if so, what was the death of it? Was there something else that was to come after it, or?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, it is an evolution. It's certainly like on the mainstream radio doesn't mean that like the industry itself didn't continue to grow.
I like that. That's
thrive.
A good point, actually.
You know, and certainly the age of the emo rock bands and MySpace, like that took over. I am not particularly into like I feel like I like the later millennial that's more grunge. Like, that's my thing. But even though I like a lot of the songs and the music, but I was never like a huge fan. I would say the Killers are like the most millennial rock band that I like. Yeah.
What do you think the difference? What's the difference between emo and grunge? I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Sorry.
I mean, like, grunge is definitely like more. The lyrics, I think, are way more complex, and like, grunge, like people, those guys are coming from a really dark place. You know, a lot of them were heroin addicts. A lot of them died.
Yeah.
But there was just like this like deeper like soul thing for me. Whereas emo, it was more pop. It's more like it's more.
I agree.
Surface level, and it appealed to like young people, like, but not. I don't think it had the like broad appeal that like a band like Radiohead or Led Zeppelin, you know, that like people still like listen to from all generations.
Yeah.
That there's a seriousness about the music.
A solemnness, I guess you could say too, right?
Yeah, there's just like an energy to. I mean, like like a solemn, but still like it's still like there's something empowering about it too.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
So what about? Let me. I mean, I'm not sure if you were going to get to this or not, but you were in a college band.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm very interested to hear about this. How long did it last? You know, how many people were in it? Give me some details on that.
So it was college. And I was in a fraternity house where there was definitely a spirit of like independent thinking and interesting people, and they threw like cool parties with bands. It wasn't just like basic like stuff. Like there was. And the house was beautiful. This was at Cornell University, so you know I think one of the most beautiful places, and certainly a very like prestigious, well-known place to get an education. And so it was great. It was a great experience being there.
What was your focus of study?
Hotel administration.
Oh shoot! Okay,
so I went to their school for that.
At some point.
Yeah. So it was my sophomore year. I believe. Yeah. Sophomore year, it was the end of the school year. It was like slope day, which is the big party day.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
It's like the last day of classes. And they had like big acts come in too. And Kanye West came.
What?
And this was like before he really blew up.
Okay.
He was like on the way up.
Yeah.
But like he was.
So before like graduation and stuff?
It was like right around then.
Yeah. Okay.
So like I had never heard of him at that point, honestly, but like people that knew hip hop did, but then obviously later everyone knows.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, we were like the house was like right next to the slope too, and we had like our own party that was like happening throughout the day before like the headliner comes on outside.
And wait, they call it the slope. Is it like a hill?
It's a giant hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so like the students take over the hill. The bottom of the hill is like the stage. And back then it was like BYOB and kind of like chaotic. And eventually the universities all started getting tougher and tougher on alcohol.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
hazing and whatnot started to become
yeah, for sure. So yeah, anyway.
I know, right? You can get lost as you speak about it, right? It makes you kind of reminisce about the times and the things that you've been through. But what instrument did you end up playing in the band itself?
So anyway, I know I went on a tangent.
It's
there,
all right.
But it was slope day, right?
Okay. Oh yeah, slope day.
So slope day.
Let's get back on the slopes. Put your skis on.
I was like jamming with some guys that were really good at guitar. There was a drummer in the house. And we just started jamming, and we learned a couple like rock songs, including Freebird, by the way.
Oh, I can just hear you right now. Like, is there a drummer in the house? Excuse me, is there a drummer in the house?
I believe in playing Freebird.
Yes,
I believe in Freebird.
I think we all do.
I think we have to embrace it. So yeah, we learned Freebird. think I learned a Sublime song.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what I got possibly.
Okay.
And there was one more. It was like Rolling Stones, maybe Jumping Jack Flash.
Okay. Okay.
So I think it was those 3 songs. And like I was singing too. I sang and I played guitar. So there was no bass player, but it was 2 guitarists. I sang and played rhythm.
Okay.
And a drummer. And I like gave it my all. Like I was like,
as you should.
I was rolling on the floor, like soloing, like I was possessed.
You know what, dude? Sometimes that's what it takes to play Freebird.
I was possessed, and the crowd there. I mean, it wasn't like a huge crowd, but like there was enough people there.
It's slope
and
day,
like,
dude.
yeah, it's slope
Come
day,
on.
and like they were like went crazy. It was just like I'm like going back, like I was like, and then afterwards, like wait a second, like I can do this.
I can do this,
Yeah,
right?
so-
And then Kanye West shows up.
Yeah, no, he didn't show up. I did see him play.
Oh, that's cool.
Um,
Especially at that time too, right?
Snoop Dogg was my senior year. I don't.
Oh, so we're talking about like
Yeah, they had
they knew what
big
they were
acts
doing.
coming
Cornell
through.
knew what they were doing, dude.
They had big acts coming. I mean, they have money for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the important thing is like I played in. So then senior year, I played in rock bands.
Okay, so you continued to play.
And then senior year is when we had like the most consistent band. We were called Dripping Wheel. I
cool.
mainly played guitar and sang, and we had a bass player, a drummer.
And what did you just play
Yeah.
at? Did you play at house parties?
Yeah.
Did you play like open mics? Where were you? You know, where did you get some of your exposure during that senior year?
We played at some house parties, and then there was a place called the Nines, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So yeah.
Did
so
that
the
inspire your name at all?
it was like yes in a way.
Okay.
So let's go with yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a short answer. Yeah, like it was good. Like we played a lot of classic rock stuff.
Oh, cool.
Like fun, like party classic rock, and people were into it. Like it was a good time.
There's some songs
Yeah.
that I'm sure you grow up with too that you're like, man, I would always love to be able to play this track.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there were, some songs like that kind of influenced you. And then I'm sure once you learn to play those tracks and are able to do it in front of an audience and you get particular reactions from them, that makes you feel like you are, worthy and
Yes.
you're able to do that. So did that bring some confidence, after college, or why don't you take me to that after that senior year and what happened? Because obviously you either you either graduate and move on, or you kind of how there's guys that kind of linger around college for a few years.
Yeah. No, I didn't do that. I mean, everyone like moved on. I ended up getting a job first in Ireland.
Oh, wow.
And then in California.
Wait, what was your job in Ireland?
So I worked at a hotel.
Okay, all right, that was your major.
I was basically like, I would call it like an intern.
Study abroad type thing?
Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, I got paid. Like there was, at the time I thought there was potential for like a longer term thing, but I should have known better because there's like an expiration on the visa.
Okay.
And like they have to like really make a case for you.
Yeah.
At the time, if they like wanted to like keep you in the country.
Of course.
And
that's that's
yeah.
even still a thing now,
yeah,
right?
yeah, it's hard to work in Europe as an American.
Yeah.
Which is why, I've been pursuing the dual citizenship thing in Romania, which I know that's like a whole conversation possibly.
Yeah.
But I guess to wrap up the post college experience, it was hotel industry jobs. I tried actually to get a band going in California. I had a buddy at Berkeley who was a good guitar player.
Now, are we talking about
yeah.
Berkeley, the School of Music?
I was talking about Berkeley, California.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's also a
Yes.
Berkeley school. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good clarifying point.
Yeah.
So I lived in Sonoma, which was close enough to Oakland or Berkeley, or I think the city is also Berkeley. Yes.
I don't know why my mind's going here, but in Ireland, what was your role in the hotel itself? Just curious.
So I started off as like an assistant manager,
Okay.
but they quickly realized I didn't know what I was doing.
I don't think
Because like at Cornell, they teach you how to be like a CEO, but they don't teach you how to like
the small stuff.
yeah.
Maybe
it's like you understand concepts and strategy, but like
how to use those concepts and the everyday. I think that's where more of experience comes from, right?
Yeah, it's just that I didn't have that hands-on
gotcha
like food and beverage experience, like restaurants and stuff. And I will say though, the best thing I learned at Cornell was we had culinary classes, mandatory.
Oh, cool. Yeah, dig a little.
So I learned how to cook at university.
Oh, cool.
And it's since been like a lifelong
I didn't know that.
passion. And I don't want to say passion, but I want to say like I would say passion. It's a thing that it's like everyday thing, you know, like
what's your favorite meal to cook? Like if you were to cook the crew here a meal, and you know we wouldn't have any say in what it would be, what would you cook?
Yeah, I'd probably do like a Mediterranean vibe, like Greek Italian spread. I think I would do something like that. You know, maybe some Mediterranean all around.
Yeah.
Maybe some like Middle Eastern flair. I would go there.
Yeah.
I definitely
all different kind of eclectic flavors and gosh, I mean, I'm sure we could talk about that forever.
No, I feel like it's typically like what I make consistently, and like feel like I'm pretty good at.
Gotcha.
That region of food.
So then, why don't you tell me a little bit? Let's go a little. We're going chronological here, okay? So give me a little bit with what happened after maybe the study abroad, and then
So after work abroad in Ireland, I mean, I took my guitar and like a little tiny like amp, so I wasn't really doing much there with music.
Wait, you brought your guitar though with you?
I just brought my electric guitar. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Like thinking it could be a thing, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's a big commitment to bring a guitar with you, you know, abroad.
Now that you say that, yeah. So, but it did open my eyes to like Europe and life. I mean, Ireland's its own little thing, but certainly like different, right?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. At that time, Ireland was very global too. Ireland was booming, so people from all over Europe were there.
Gotcha.
So it was cool to be. I was the only American working at that hotel, and just met a lot of cool people from Spain, Poland, Hungary, all over.
That's cool.
So it was a good time.
Yeah, and I'm sure maybe being the only American as well was maybe a challenge as well. What about like any language barriers itself, or
no barriers? I mean, they have their own slang, which is like was kind of fun to learn and figure out. But no language issues in Ireland.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Gosh, you know, to go from there, you know, I know we were talking about earlier kind of, let's see here, having like a flow state. Let's kind of shift, let's shift gears a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and with not just passions with, you know, music and whatnot, but I know you said that you used to surf and stuff, and possibly even still do. Tell me, you know, how did, you know, the love of those things kind of, you know, intertwine with your music, and maybe kind of like, you know, sidetrack to like life itself, and maybe some of the lessons that you kind of had to learn, you know, alongside, you know, not just learning the music itself, but kind of, you know, life itself.
Yeah, I think, and this is the thing that, as far as music production goes, that I struggled with for the longest time. Still do to some degree, but I think I overcame the initial locks that kept me from doing anything more than just dabbling in a studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that came from yeah, life, and yeah, I know we switched gears, but fast forward, life takes over. Music is nothing more than a hobby. At one point I did, and I think this is important because I think
Of
this
course.
all ties it together. I tried being I moved back here. I had my life in California fell apart in the span of like a weekend, busted my shoulder snowboarding.
Oh shoot.
Girlfriend broke up with me, who I was living with,
Okay.
and
That can be a challenge.
and got laid off.
Oh, dude, the trifecta.
The trifecta, the three.
Oh my gosh.
The three things, but it was a sign. All right, I'm out of here.
Restart, man.
I'm gone. So I moved back home to Baltimore.
Okay.
Started over. But yeah, since I've been back here in the beginning, I was actually trying to make it as a singer songwriter, but my vocals just didn't have the chops. It was different. I wasn't dedicating to the art form. Looking back, I was just showing up and thinking I could pull that off.
Yeah.
Behind a band, I think I was able to, but just purely off the caliber of my voice. So that was a big failure because at that point, the dream was kind of dead.
Okay. How long ago was this? What
This was
circa?
This was over 10 years ago now, but then
Okay.
eventually it kind of got me on this electronic music path.
Yeah. Dig
Yeah.
into that a little bit because that is kind of how I learned about you and
Yeah.
kind of seeing your name in the electronic DJ scene in Baltimore, and I knew you were doing shows all over the place. I do remember seeing your name, all over the place,
Yeah.
and I know you were probably doing weddings and stuff like that, just to probably
Yeah.
bring some money in and whatnot.
Sure.
But dig a little bit into that transition of how you then became more of an electronic producer and engineer itself.
Yeah, so I did also one thing that happened in the 2000s was I fell in love with electronic music, old school Tiesto, that old school trance. There's something epic about it. I had some incredible experiences as a young lad, in clubs in New York and the Hamptons, and my cousin would take me these places, and it blew my mind,
Yeah.
opened my eyes to this whole new thing. And this was before EDM really blew up and became commercial as we know it today.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started dabbling. Also, I had a buddy, Craig, who sadly passed away a couple years ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and he's a big part of this story too. And I was thinking about him a lot the
Do
other
me a
day.
favor. Look up.
Yeah.
Say hi to
Craig.
There's a camera up there. You see that one right there? What's up, Craig?
What's
Saying
up,
hi.
Craig? Yeah.
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 It's important to think about things like that, though. I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but
Yeah.
what did you maybe learn from that, or
Yeah, we started dabbling in music stuff, beat making. He was really into gear and kind of pushing me a lot.
Was he older than you?
No, same age. We
Okay.
were friends from high school.
Gotcha.
So yeah, he pushed me to get into Ableton.
Okay. Which is a
from Logic,
program.
which is the program that I use now, and I love. There's others that people love. But yeah, he was really influential early on in getting me involved with music production. And he was a DJ. He used to DJ back in the early 2000s, 1722,
Oh,
Legendary, yeah, After Hours Club in Baltimore, and in the heyday.
Oh yeah. Iconic.
So yeah,
What did he have? What was his DJ name? Do you know?
Craig
Do you-
James.
Okay.
yeah, which is a good
Dude,
house
rolls off the tongue,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. So yeah. Anyway, I know we were talking about the path towards that. So it started for me in production, but it was dabbling, a lot of dabbling, and I kept trying to do different things with it. But I had all these good ideas, but I never took them beyond like a basic loop or like musical idea.
So most of your ideas kind of started though, like on the MIDI, like on like a keyboard itself, or like let me think about how I want to ask you this question. Was there any live instrumentation that you incorporated, like guitar or piano in the very beginning, or was it mostly like kind of let's see here, I guess a MIDI setup where you're just kind of directing samples and whatnot?
Yeah. In the beginning, it was actually more live.
Okay.
Which is interesting because now I'm kind of coming back to that.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that for sure, because I want to talk to you about that.
But I think that resulted in some stuckness.
Stuckness.
Yeah, a lot of stuckness.
Stickiness.
Yeah, a lot of like reasons why I can't move forward, and it's like, oh, well, I don't have this like mic or compressor or preamp or
listen. You know what? Wait, let's
knowledge of mixing.
Let's tell the people, like, listen,
Yeah.
if you're stuck, don't get sticky. All right, there's going to be something that's going to try and hold you back.
Yeah.
There's going to be something that's going to try and keep you where you're at. But I think Neil is making a great point here. Don't let anything small like that, whether it's a piece of equipment or an instrument itself, don't let that hold you back.
Yeah,
Continue.
for sure. And have you ever read The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield?
Yes, actually.
So
It's
he
been
talks
a
about
long time.
the resistance. So it's that, right? It's the resistance. It's reasons why we can't move forward. And so you asked about the flow state. I just hadn't really got there. I hadn't got to that point where I was ever in it. It just felt like this thing I needed to do, but couldn't.
You could see it in the distance.
Yeah, I couldn't
right?
pull it through.
Okay.
Until I later decided I was gonna really go for it full time, and this was after I decided to learn how to DJ,
Going gung ho.
and started getting gigs from DJing. So,
cool.
Yeah, and one thing you and I have talked about is accountability.
Yeah.
And this is when I started working with a producer friend, Heath Allen, and you'll see many of my early tracks he is on and involved in.
Okay.
And he built this really nice studio at his apartment, and I was going there during COVID. Like, he was like my COVID friend.
This is in Baltimore?
Yeah, this is in Baltimore.
Gotcha.
And we were working on music.
Okay.
And he didn't have a ton of production experience, but he had a lot of experience as a DJ and understood EDM, understood festivals, way more than I did. So, it was great in terms of having somewhere to go consistently and having someone else to do it with. I think one thing that's challenging is doing it alone.
Yeah.
And when you can bring people into, there's just the collaboration flow state also
For sure.
happens. But yeah, I found myself getting to the point where I could really get in the zone for several hours at a time.
Yeah.
And just be dialed in.
Stay focused, and really kind of get in the moment, I guess. With the music making itself. And so tell me a little bit more. You said Heath Allen was his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. What were some of the things that you learned from him at the time? If you could dig a little bit, that helped you, then kind of develop the DJ and engineering and production side that you have now.
Yeah, I mean, he helped us get some good vocals early, which is important.
Yeah.
Obviously. And just getting over the hump for a few tracks and having someone to do it with.
Yeah.
And we went through a lot of growing pains in being on the same page, and also in working with mix engineers. And that was talk about stuckness and things that get in the way. Well, yeah, it's this idea of mixing and mastering is daunting.
I know,
or it's
right?
expensive, or you send it off to someone and then they send you something back and you're not satisfied, and then there's back and forth. And yeah, there was a lot of that too.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to ask myself, like, I think I have to like learn mixing. I got to learn how to mix. I got to learn how to master. Even if it's not like perfect, like, can I get it good enough? So I got out of that idea of being precious about everything.
Ooh, I like that.
That got me so stuck early and often was that, yeah, that feeling of perfection, that feeling of like, oh, well, let's redo this. Well, this is better, you know? Yeah. So fast forward to like recently and today, and the most flow that I think I've been in a certain way is the 3-day challenge, the 3-day songwriting production start to finish challenge.
Oh shoot! Okay,
which changed everything, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
So tell me a little more about this. I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So I have this accountability group, and which is good because the solo it just helps me.
Where are these other guys from?
They're from New York and LA.
Okay.
So one of them lives in New York, one in LA.
And how did you find them?
So we met through the Hyperbits Academy, like, alumni group.
Okay, and what is Hyperbits?
Hyperbits is an online music production school.
Okay.
So it was like the second program I like signed up for.
Hyperbits.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
He's also an artist.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do a little.
He
research
also helped
myself.
me get signed to my first label. So.
And who was
shout out
that?
to
Who was
him.
the label? What's the label?
As You Are.
Oh, cool.
Based out of New York. So I had a track
Shout out.
called Whispers this past year.
Oh, cool.
Excuse me. Get signed. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's always a goal, right? Of anybody.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely when you get some validation that someone else likes your music. It's not like just you.
Yeah. It's really
and
important.
it's not just your friends telling you they
Right.
like your music.
Tell me. Let's go back to the 3-day challenge.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear a little bit on, like, maybe like break each day down and kind of, you know, what you were
Yes.
able to learn and take from that, and why, you know, it was monumental in your career.
Yeah, I think when I first got here, when I mentioned like Prince, like finishing a song in a day, and actually Hyperbits, the school, like that was like the first thing he says is like this idea that you can make a track in 8 hours, you know, that like, even one day, you know, and he was faced with deadlines and professional producers sometimes that work for labels, sometimes they gotta just like pump stuff out.
Yeah.
So yeah, this idea that it was possible to do it in one day has always been on my mind.
I love that.
So I was talking to the guys and like we ended up with 3 days. Is like, okay, 3 days you can like still kind of live your life. Like obviously you want to carve some time out more than you normally would, but like you don't have to like completely abandon all other responsibilities.
Yeah. We have to also think about like, you know, like having a job or a family or, you know, all these other things. So have to be realistic about the goals themselves too.
Yeah. So, you know, we had these 3 days. Yeah, we all had like more or less some stuff. I had like a gig one of the days, but it wasn't like 3 gig days, right?
Did you get to pick the 3 days, or did it kind of just like come up, you know, out of nowhere? Like, okay, hey, today is the 3-day challenge.
Oh, we like talked about it and agreed on this would work.
Gotcha.
For all of us.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and what's great is like JJ, one of the guys, like he's so like he works for Meta, like on the ad side for Facebook and stuff, like really smart dude, and like spreadsheets and like plans and like
numbers, projections.
He was doing all that and it was cool because he's very good about like, and that's why it's good to have these people that you set goals with that can challenge your goals and ask questions. He's just very good about all of that.
And therein, I feel like something that's super helpful with that is the fact that they are in a whole different universe themselves. So, you know, maybe they have a different point of focus throughout the challenge itself, or maybe they want to see something different in themselves throughout that challenge. So in turn, it helps them bring that out of you, as well. And
For
like you
sure.
were talking, he has, just back to JJ, with like spreadsheets and whatnot, it probably gave him a different mindset of how, how to achieve these goals. And in order to be able to achieve those goals, doing it in a different way, and then kind of bringing you in, and vice versa.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why, it's good to have people that, and I think it's like, I remember when I worked in corporate, like, you set goals formally, and there's a process, and there's learning around how to set good goals, and there's really a lot of focus on goal setting and performance, and how to get the most out of people. And but then it's like, looking at yourself, how do I get the most out of myself? And
that's a great point, dude. I sorry to interrupt you with that, because this is really important, and it's something I want to dig on at some point, in a different episode. But think about those goals that you're setting, and like, there's a reason why, like, a football field is 100 yards. Think about, like, if it was 1,000 yards, like, how many goals, or how many field goals / touchdowns would be scored. It would probably be one of the lowest scoring games ever. So you really do have to how much time and dedication is going to go into you realizing that it needs to be 100 yards. I think it's really important, and I love that you mentioned that. I'm going to really put some time in it and thought and attention into that for the future.
So the biggest thing I got out of from a goal setting standpoint, from this 3-day challenge, it changed my big goal. It changed the vision for the music and for my life, like, in a lot of ways. Like, and when I say change, a lot of things just kind of shifted, but it made me realize that I could do this, like, and like, really good stuff comes out when you, like, force that to happen, because you get that deep work and, like, a deep sense of connection to the track. Like when you work on a track here and there, an hour here and there, it's like you're not building that bond. You know
there's
what I mean?
A touch.
So anyway, it changed how I saw the vision for my music, the sound, and, like, the whole thing, because it forced me to write and sing and perform and, like, believe in myself in all of those areas again. But now with the newfound production knowledge and prowess, and the help of, like, all of the learning and all the coaches, like, I feel like my skills are, like, getting to the point where I'm really, like, feeling strongly about that. But now to bring in this, like, new vision for the music, that it's no longer me as this DJ producer model in the EDM industry, as this, like, now it's this hybrid electronic rock artist that's in its own thing. Kind of like like 9 Inch Nails was, like, even like Radiohead, or even like, so we'll see. Like, I could see a band forming from it, this new thing, but at the same time, right now, I want to cultivate everything creatively and give it space to grow and not force it.
Oh yeah. Love that.
So I'm wrapping up my Berlin album, which has taken, of course, a lot longer than I thought it would.
Sometimes it does.
But it just, like, it goes through iterations, and I'm trying to tell a story, and now I feel like I'm in the best position to tell that story, and to go from, like, pure, like, house music, techno, EDM artist, and then fuse it with the new rock electronic stuff, and build that bridge through the album, through the EP. And it's happening. So each, like, song has both a, like, 4 to the floor beat, electronic groove part, house track or techno track, but also has this like interlude that's either rock or cinematic or orchestral. I have a viola player.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, a bunch of different accompaniment, I guess you could say, with that. Let me ask you, the 3-day challenge, was there a specific track that came out of that maybe people can possibly listen to? Or
so what's interesting is I really thought I was gonna start to finish and release a track.
Okay.
But the track ended up being so different and unique and got me thinking in this new way that I have this other music that I'm excited to release that's been done.
Okay.
And feel like progresses me as an artist, shows the progression, and this track then comes along after the Berlin project.
Gotcha.
I really feel like it has to fit there.
Yeah, gotcha. Do you have a specific time period when you feel like this Berlin album slash let's see here, project is going to be coming out, or is it kind of still in the works, or how where?
I told myself like absolute cutoff is end of the year. Like I can't touch it in 2025.
Okay.
So whatever state it's in the next month and a half, like it's got to go out.
Yeah. So you're setting goals, like kind of like you said,
it just has to, because I want the new year to be about me as this hybrid vocal, guitar, piano, electronic artist, making like just real shit,
Yeah,
like
for sure, dude.
Like real music that got me excited.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I all the stuff I've been making has been good, but like this is now like it feels right, like inside.
Greatness,
a lot more.
man.
Yeah, like from the soul, like it feels right. And I needed to go through all of that development, all of those trials and tribulations and uncertainties. And obviously there's still plenty of that, but to kind of find that new, I don't know, it's like a new set of like, I've been playing video games again. I didn't play them for a longest time.
Source of inspiration, for sure.
And like how far they've, like that feeling of adventure, and like you get this new plate of armor, you get this new like level up, like maybe you've been through like a tough boss and kind of beat up,
right? You're kind of limping and things are hanging off of you, and
then it's like, oh, you get like to the new thing, and then everything gets like put on, and you get all the like new shit.
Yeah,
like all right,
refreshed.
Yeah. So that's how I feel now,
Well, tell me a little bit about the future of Neil Nines, and kind of not just the future itself, but like maybe like geographically, like other than Baltimore. Do you see yourself, maybe moving in the future and kind of building in a different location, or is Baltimore, or is, are you set in stone to be, something here?
Yeah, so this is a tough one for me, because I would like to see myself somewhere else. I do have like family and my mom that, I have some responsibility for. She's much older, helping her out with a lot of things like physically.
Yeah.
So there is that, but there's other help too. So, and there's my DJ career here, kind of holding me here. At the same time, I've been making inroads in exploring Europe as a possible second home, at least. And I think where I can land is seasonal, at least for now, where I'd like to, can I get a seasonal location where I can, start to plant some seeds and build somewhere else as well, but maintain perhaps peak season here for my business as a DJ. And make sure, like I'm not completely like abandoning, family.
Any particular city
Yeah.
in the United States, that you could kind of foresee yourself? Maybe like one or two, or
I only went to Nashville once, but there was something about Nashville, hanging out with songwriters, and you could rent a house with other songwriters. It's like affordable, like it's pretty, like it's way more chill than like LA or New York.
mm-hmm.
And it's, yeah, it's like more, it seems like that city's more really about the music, and
Yeah.
there's still plenty of like ego stuff, and obviously country is like king there. But yeah, there's something about that place that I'm very interested to explore more.
Yeah.
At least like just the idea of just being around people that are songwriters and talent like that, there seems good for me.
Seems fit.
Yeah, and it's not like incredibly far like LA.
Mm-hmm.
But New York too, like, is right within an earshot. So
For sure.
and I do have family connections there, and one of my like friends and advisor, kind of someone I confide in a lot, who's in the film industry, he's been helping me think about this too and strategize. And yeah, New York,
It's cool that you have someone else to
Yeah.
kind of bounce ideas off with, and
New York,
use
yeah.
as a helpful reminder as to to do these things, and kind of help you stay at the forefront of growth and change. So that's pretty cool that you have that.
And I think now that I'm going in a more rock direction, New York now makes way more sense.
So when do you
break in,
decide?
yeah.
When do you decide that is the next? Just with what we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier, making sure that we're accountable, and kind of
Yeah.
finally actually deciding, like, this is what is best for me. Is there a particular timeline that occurs that helps you understand, like, okay, now is the time to move? And I think this is good for our viewers too, to kind of
Yeah.
help them think about maybe some of the things that they are kind of teetering in between. Do they go? It's almost like a fork in the road, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, do you go left, do you go right, or do you even kind of you take the road less traveled?
Yeah. So one piece of advice I got was along the lines to just go all in on the new thing.
Yeah.
One thing I've been like, in my mind, and I feel like this has been something, how do I like be all things, and I think that can be like, I'm still Neil Nines, but I'm thinking about this new brand. Like, that's tough, because I really
Gotta be.
want a musical identity that's sounds more like a band name that isn't like a personal brand.
Okay.
But I feel like Neil Nines can stay like me as like a DJ, a person, a producer, whose like sole musical focus perhaps is now this new thing.
Yeah,
Right.
gotcha.
That's how I would. Oops, sorry about that. Poor mic stand or mic arm. Anyway, yeah. So it was cool actually. The way I just described that was probably the best way I've ever described like how I envision that. So
That's
it helped
awesome.
me think through that. So
Yeah.
thank you.
It's good to
Thank you
to
for
think about that.
helping me think through
No
all
problem.
kinds of things. We've had so many good conversations about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, about life.
So,
And
yeah.
I mean, I met Neil, I'd say maybe actually we were a part of a community online called the Indie Music Academy.
Yes.
And what's the gentleman who
Ryan
Yes, Ryan.
Holiday. Sorry, I forgot your name. I
Yeah,
know it's
we'll
Ryan.
actually-
I know it's Ryan.
I would
yeah.
like to actually. I'll
Yeah.
probably include a link, in the description, so you can check his.
Yeah.
So, in searching for a community itself to be a part of, and to try and hold us accountable to
Yeah.
all these different things,
Yeah.
we found something called the Indie Music Academy, and Ryan's doing a lot for independent artists, and helping them understand how to really blossom into the artists that they are today. And we were a part of that community at first. And I saw his name and Neil's name, and I'm like, man, that looks familiar. And then we went to a community building workshop at Lineup Room Studios,
Right.
which was held by MC Bravado and Brandon Lackey there on Saratoga Street. And I remember, he introduced him to me, and I'm like, wait a second, we're a part of the same community, right?
Yeah.
And that was, that's Baltimore for you. And
cool.
I do remember kind of like, meeting you there, and then kind of doing a little bit of research on you, and remember seeing your name, as far as shows go, and you were doing weddings and things like that, and then I started digging into some of your music, and man, let me tell you, it was very well put together, and you are consistently releasing music, and that got me into working with you. And so we have a few tracks in the works now, and I could foresee us working on stuff for the prolonged future.
I think working with you on the track, it was interesting because at that time I think struggling with this idea that, and you hear this advice a lot, is in house music or dance music, is really to be in a certain niche and really go all in on that. And it makes sense, actually. Why? So I think it is good advice for most producers, but I think for me it just never really fit enough, because each song I just wanted to like build off itself, and the song to write itself, not my vision of like what it needed to be.
You don't want to put yourself in a box.
Right. So
finding a niche is a challenge, right? Because if you're ever evolving and always growing, how do you get comfortable in one particular spot when you know that there's places around that particular spot that are also possibly going to be comfortable, or even more comfortable than the spot that you're in. So finding that niche itself, were you able to do that, or do you feel like you are still kind of molding that itself?
Well, I think this is where the new vision for like the hybrid electronic music, like rock art, I think Moby is a good Moby is a good archetype in a way. Not that it's gonna like sound like him, but the way that he like fused it all together, the different pieces to create like a sonic scope as an individual artist, but it's still kind of in this electronic camp in a way.
I love the way you put that. What about like somebody like the Gorillaz, kind of maybe too, right?
Even like Linkin Park to some degree, like they're like more squarely band, but 9 Inch Nails certainly. I think like so that outside of the traditional, again, like EDM USB stick DJ, I just like felt it was a blessing in disguise that I started to be like, I don't know if I'm really started to not believe in myself that I was going to make it in this industry anymore. And then I was like, well, of course not. 'Cause like, I'm not as all in as like I am on this,
of course.
It was a huge awakening. And it was just so many blessings, to get me to that point. I think being in Berlin last year, coming back, like everything started to change. I think from being there to coming back.
How so,
into
though?
This
like
new form,
inside or mentally?
Getting cold out there, huh?
I know, right?
That's why I'm doing it.
Would it be more mentally? The change is occurring like inside, or like what about like physically too? I mean, give me a little bit of like how you can, let's see here, you can shape yourself around change itself. And I know it's probably it's a little bit scary. We're creatures of habit too, right? So
Yeah.
any type of change is a challenge.
Yeah.
How do you foresee yourself, tackling that challenge itself?
Yeah, I think I'm at a. It sounds like you are too. We're at a pivotal crossroads,
Mm.
and wanting a bigger change.
Yeah.
For me, I want a bigger change in like my operating system, like how I go about the day. Yeah, and even like we've talked a lot about health and wellness previously, and I know that was a topic to bring up today. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, like how do I be the best version of myself that can execute on this new vision the
Yeah.
best? And this new vision is an opportunity to remake other parts of my life, and not that I like health and wellness haven't been important to me, and I haven't like I exercise, I sleep, I try to prioritize sleep.
Important.
80/20 my diet tends to be good, but like now it's like next level. I want the next level of that. And now is the opportune time for that.
Yeah. I
So,
love that, man. It's cool to
Yeah.
hear and to see, and on this show, I try and focus on self awareness and the trajectory that we're going in, and not just kind of taking the bow and arrow and just shooting it anywhere.
Yeah.
But we're trying to aim in a particular direction that we know that we should be going in, or that we're destined
Yeah.
to go in. And I can definitely see you all the things that you talked about with from the accountability to the flow state itself, to the growth and the the understanding of all the different instruments the instrumentation that you've taken under your wing. It's really cool to be able to see other artists who are really focused on the future, and it seems like you're always kind of thinking about the next step.
Yeah.
You're always thinking about where you're going to be in the future, and how you're also kind of going to fit into that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Do you foresee any? Let's see here. Are you scared at all of the future and what it holds, and not just like in a worldly manner? Because I kind of like how this conversation really focused on this bubble that you're in, because we're all in our own bubble, and we don't really get to, we can visually on like social media see what other people's bubbles like, but to really get to like hear what's inside your bubble is really cool, and I think it's really informational and educational for other people. But do you foresee any challenges, or are you scared at all for what the future holds itself?
I wouldn't say I'm scared. It's like I think AI and as obviously music stuff, it's has potential, and I think that even lends itself more to the need to really go deeper as an artist and make
Love that.
authentic, like good ass music.
Yes.
Because I think AI is more likely to get okay and good at making basic shit, and
I agree.
I don't see it going much deeper. But either way, I think people want to identify with a human artist. And so from that front, I think about like something to be afraid of. I don't know. I remain, things could always get weird again. They're more likely to get weird, weird stuff is going to happen. But we all seem to just kind of like carry on. So what can we do, other than be, I think about this, like, is it better to be like ignorant and happy, to some degree there,
I love that.
with regards to like, certain things out of our control.
Ignorant and happy as opposed to.
Well, I don't know that. I'm not saying like better to be ignorant and happy versus like caring about all things and taking on the burdens of all of civilization
On your shoulders.
on
right?
your own shoulders. Knowing like the world, the messed up stuff is going on, and what do we know? There's different sides to different stories, and so from all that perspective, I think I'm pretty Zen like or Buddhist like in a way.
I would agree.
Yeah, I don't burden myself too much, even though I try to remain someone who's knowledgeable about perspectives and events and things like that. You know, at least major stuff.
Yeah. I love that. Are there any, let's see here, are there any like podcasts or artists that we should maybe listen to, or artists that we should maybe kind of look out for in the future? And even, is there anything other than the Berlin Project or anything that you kind of want to highlight of your own music? That I know that was a multifaceted question there, but just kind of want you to be able to kind of give some of the listeners maybe some stuff to either do homework on, or maybe go and do some research on themselves.
Yeah. Well, I would say like I love connecting with all kinds of people for any reason, but certainly if anyone has a reason to, follow me, Neil Nines on Instagram, reach out, DM
Spell
me,
that out. I'm going to put it.
NILNINES, and wants to have a conversation about anything that we've talked about or anything at all, I'm sure that would be great. But certainly if this new artist identity, rock, like if you love 90s grunge and electronic stuff and like this sounds exciting to you, I particularly would love to hear from you. Just let me know.
Yeah, I love that.
And but other than that, like
who was the guy that you put me on to, the podcaster that you showed me his book?
Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
So I will say, like, as far as finding podcasts, I think it's just the idea of exploring and taking time and find stuff that appeals to you. And YouTube algorithm is pretty good at, recommending stuff.
Almost too good.
It started with me with Tim Ferriss, and I found all kinds of interesting podcasters and podcaster people and concepts. But the Tim Ferriss podcast was the inception of the personal development, like me taking action and making that a part of my life more consciously.
Love that.
And was the beginning of me kind of getting out of what felt like a content life, just like doing the 9 to 5, to beginning to dream and envision. And because I think I kept hearing all these stories, all these people that made it, like no one knows what they're doing really, but they just kept going. They're
good at pretending.
They just, it's like every story just had its serendipity baked in. And, and it's just believe like, if you just keep going for it, keep like feeling like good, like you're doing something good, and like you're like making good connections, you're treating people well, like you have a good vibe to bring, like sure I have to catch myself sometimes, like
every
we all do,
then, right?
But
dust your knees off,
things can happen. Like go for it, try, experiment. Like there's a salsa class I've been meaning to take and I haven't done it.
There you go.
Like I'm pretty good at like pushing myself outside the comfort zone, but then I still get stuck in certain areas.
Yeah, of course.
So this is my commitment to take one salsa class. Just show up. I don't know anyone here, or maybe I do. I don't know.
Right. You know what? I have something. Wait a second. Is that a phone ringing? Real quick. Yes. Hello. Is this Neil Eights? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, guess what? I have someone
Yo,
here
it's-
who wants to speak with you, and I think he wants to give you some advice. I'm not sure. He wants to talk to you though, but this is you in the future, just so you know. Somebody wants to talk to you, dude.
What's up, buddy? This is your older self.
Don't cover it. Try and make sure
Oh.
so the other people can hear it.
This is your older self. And I have been thinking about what to tell you, what advice to give, and certainly don't want to give away too much and alter the course of the learning. But yeah, you were more of a punk than you thought you were, than you think you are. But that's okay. At least you learned and you succeeded in many different ways. So if you can figure the discipline thing out and accountability thing out and focus on that earlier, go for it. But if not, that's all good too. If you got to live through that party lifestyle and VIP and being a scenester and think that's the most important thing, like, go ahead, but it's definitely not. So get out of that bullshit. And yeah, man, start thinking about fashion a little bit earlier too. I know it's still like early 2000s, but I think we could have stepped that up a little bit. But just keep doing you, and yeah, it's a beautiful journey, and just keep pushing forward. Love you, kiddo.
Listen to everything he says, because you end up being a pretty cool dude. All right, peace. Nice. Awesome. All right, let's roll into some rapid fire real quick. I didn't even tell you about this, but I'm about to hit you up with some questions here, okay? And basically how this works is I'm going to ask you, like, if one thing or the other, or something that you like or something that you don't like. I think it's pretty easy, but we want to go with a rapid fire, so I want you to try and be as quick as possible.
Precision.
If you don't know, you can just say I don't know. Okay? All right, sounds good. Put 3 minutes on the board. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Okay. Favorite Friends cast member?
Chandler.
Oh, yeah. What's your dream car if money was no object?
Lamborghini.
Who would you spend a day in the life of?
Pass.
Okay. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Text or phone call?
Phone call.
Organized playlists or putting it all on shuffle?
Pass.
What age would you want to be? What age would you want to stay for the rest of your life?
35.
Earbuds or headphones?
Both.
Scariest villain?
Freddy Krueger.
All right.
He was like in my head. I was like, couldn't think. Like, I saw him. It was like, this guy's coming at me with the claws.
Doritos or Pringles?
Doritos.
Worst pizza topping?
Anchovy.
Spinners or Spreewells?
What? Pass.
If you could spend 24 hours with any celebrity, who would it be?
Keith Richards.
What's one thing you've always wanted to do but haven't?
Kite surfing.
If you could pick any season all year round, what would it be?
Fall.
East Coast or West Coast?
East Coast.
East. Favorite subject in school?
History.
Best music duo?
The first thing that came to mind, Hall and Oates, is not my choice. Nothing against them, but
there you go.
it's Hall and Oates.
All right, name one Pokemon that's not Pikachu.
Pass.
All right, you walk into a casino right now. What's the first thing you're playing?
The cheapest blackjack table I can find.
All right, what's your spirit animal?
Wolf.
What's my spirit animal?
Wolf.
The pack, baby. All right. Favorite member of the Beatles?
George.
Mm.
No. Now it's Paul.
Okay.
It's Paul.
Okay. All right. What's one thing you
Yeah.
can't live without?
Love.
Love that. Favorite curse word that's not really a curse word?
Bro.
Okay. Favorite color?
Blue.
Any particular type of blue?
Like a dark French royal blue. Like some like fancy ass French hotel and the walls are just blue.
Dark
Just blue.
Blue. Love it.
Just
Love
blue.
it. Blue. All right. Planes, trains, or automobiles?
Planes, let's go.
Let's go. If you had to listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Dream on.
Yes. Most unique instrument?
Most a flout. A flute. I don't know what a flout is. A flute.
Okay.
Flout.
Love it. All right. Favorite kind of flower?
Rose.
Okay. There you go. Daytime or nighttime?
Daytime.
A daytime for sure. Any superpower, what would it be?
Teleportation.
Okay. If you could be any sea animal, what would it be and why?
I would be a dolphin because, I mean, duh. Yeah.
Duh. All right. Last one. Coconut or pineapple?
Oh, I mean, combined is the best.
Oh.
Good pina colada, but pineapple if I had to pick one.
All right. There you go. Bomb drop.
Is that the wrap?
That is
the
the
final?
wrap.
All right.
Hey, listen, dude, Neil, you have been an absolute pleasure.
Likewise.
You are a very inspiring person, and the whole Zen-like feel. I really do sense that, and I feel that, and that's kind of why I brought you in today to speak with the Respecting Perspectives podcast audience, and I'm sure they can learn, or I hope that they can learn something from this. And do you have any last words that you want to, any maybe words of wisdom or any advice or anything that you want to give the people, or just peace out?
Well, I respect you for doing this, and Matt, and this place. The Rhythm Royales have been incredible. Hopefully, that's something that people will find out about more and more. Getting people together. Baltimore, is known for its music scene. I think, more opportunities to bring people together is exciting for me, because I think part of my life will always be here, even though I talk about leaving and have this nomadic vision. But yeah, I just wanted to say that and give gratitude. And yeah, I mean, I believe anyone that can follow their dream and wants to get their life in a better place, focus on your health and body, and the mind will follow. That's definitely been true for me, and it's a roller coaster all the time, but at least the overall trajectory has been good, and something that, I don't take for granted, so, but yeah, just live your best life and respect perspectives.
Respect perspectives. All right. Hey, dream on.
Dream on.
Catch you next time. Peace.